Sergeant, have you investigated any other officer besides Joy Phillips through cyber crimes?
No.
Isn't it true that you were recently accused of viewing pornography
Objection. This is totally
your,
irrelevant.
pornographic images on your cell phone while on duty and while inside the Internal Affairs Office?
Yes, HR talked to me about that, and they investigated it and found out it was not true.
Isn't it true that when ordered to give your cell phone to the administration, you refused?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to object to this. This is just totally irrelevant and has nothing to do with the charges in front of this commission.
Also cross-examination. Overruled.
Were you ever reprimanded in any way? Let me repeat the question, sir. Did you give over your cell phone to the administration?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were ordered to give your cell phone to the administration so it could investigate this charge.
I was not.
Okay. So so that there's no way then that these charges could be investigated if your devices were not examined?
You would have to talk to HR about that.
Were you ever reprimanded in any way for the policies you violated?
I didn't violate any policies.
Was the cell phone you were accused of using a department-owned phone?
There was some accusation, but nobody asked for a cell phone or anything like that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Who conducted the investigation then?
HR.
Were you ever placed on administrative leave pending this investigation?
No.
And did an outside agency or another supervisor not connected to this incident conduct an investigation?
No. Okay. Not that I'm aware of.
Did these events get you charged with anything that led to having to appear before this commission?
No.
Did any member of the Elkhart Police Department ask cyber crimes to investigate your phone, or your computer?
You'd have to talk to somebody else, but nobody ever asked me for my phone.
So only Detective Phillips got subjected to this treatment.
Fraction of your life to wander free. But losing everything is like the sun going down on me. Don't let the sun go down on me. Although I search myself, there's always someone else I see. I just allow a fragment of your life to wander free. But losing everything is like the sun going down on me.
I would call Sergeant Scott Claybaugh.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you give here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Can you state your name and title for the record?
I'm Scott Claybaugh, and I'm a sergeant with the Elkhart Police Department.
How long have you been in professional standards?
Roughly 4.5 years.
And how did you become involved in an investigation involving Joy Phillips?
There were some accusations that she was taking ongoing criminal investigation records outside of the PD. So that's how the investigation started.
And do you recall when abouts it started?
It was late October, early November.
And when did what did your investigation involve? What did your investigation involve?
The accusations was she was taking videos. So what I decided to do is take her laptop and her cell phone over to cybercrimes and then have them do to analyze it to find out what was on them.
Okay. And what did you learn as regards Joy's use of a camcorder?
Well, I had a meeting with Sydney, and she told me what she came across on the computer. One of the things she came across is that there was some videos on her computer, on Joy's computer, that had been recorded off of evidence.com. Evidence.com is our web base that we sign into to watch videos. So what I did is I knew that there were some camcorders back in CID. I went back there, I found them. There were 3 of them. In one of them, I found an SD card. On that SD card, there were 5 labels. The videos were not there, but they were with the officer's name and axon.com. So Patrolman Van Scoik, Sergeant Dustin Young, 2 videos from an interview room, and I can't remember what the 5th is.
Did you try to recover any of the deleted videos?
Yes, so I had our CID evidence tech see if they could recover videos. They recovered 2 videos. Those videos were from interviews done by Detective Payne and Sergeant Roundtree. It was the whole videos. During those videos, these people, it's related to the burglary and the accident. The personal names, information, date of birth, home addresses, places of work, things like that were on the video.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 35. Do you recognize it?
Yes, that's my report.
And if you can turn to page 30 of 38, so if you count from the back, 8 in. Oh, maybe 9 in.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Can you tell us what this is?
So when I put the SD card in the computer, this is what came up. As you can see, it says Exhibit A, Axon Body, Corporal Van Scoik. Exhibit B, Axon Body, Sergeant Young. Exhibit D, Axon Interview Room, and it says Detective P, so that's going to be Detective Payne. And then Exhibit E, Axon Interview Room, which is Sergeant Roundtree.
And was Detective Phillips assigned to the case associated with these videos?
She was not.
What did you find regarding the emails on her phone?
So she had emailed herself twice the entire criminal investigation of the burglary and of the accident, to include the case report with all supplements, property vouchers.
So if you turn to,
So,
yeah. Were you finished answering?
So she emailed herself the entire criminal case for the burglary with all the supplements, the accident with all the supplements, to include property and evidence vouchers. She took screenshots from our RMS system for all the attachments to the cases. She also took screenshots of all the property and evidence related to the cases. And then there's a picture of the door, which is one of the videos that she recorded with the camcorder.
So if we take a look at Exhibit 35 and go to page 17 of 38, which is where your exhibits to your report begin, if you could lead us through, so that looks the first exhibit.
So you can see that she emailed herself at cjjg626@yahoo.com. And then that is the list of everything that she emailed herself. She did that on August 17th. And then she did the exact same thing on August 18th.
And that's on the second page there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you turn the page, the property and evidence voucher, can you describe that for us?
Yeah, so that's all the property that was tagged into evidence. Got 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages.
And then the exhibit following that, what is that showing us? The one that says One Solution RMS?
That is a screenshot of all the attachments to the case, to one of the cases.
And this was a screenshot that Detective Phillips took?
Correct.
And then the next exhibit to your report, which says related property and evidence, what is that depicting?
That is another screenshot that she took off of the computer with the property and evidence related to the cases.
And the next exhibit, the next 2 exhibits look to be similar?
Yes. That's just the full list of all the property and evidence.
Okay. And the exhibit after that depicts, it looks like a picture of the green door. What was that?
That is a screenshot from evidence.com. If you look in the lower left corner, it says viewed by Joy Phillips on 10th of August, 2022.
And so that's a screenshot that Detective Phillips took?
Correct.
Okay. And if you turn the page, then it says one match found, and then at the top it says LPP Police. Can you describe what this is?
LP Police is a website base that the detectives use for information on working cases. Lieutenant Tweedy put in that email address. That email address comes back to Joy's husband's name along with her home address.
And if you turn the page again, can you describe for us what we're looking at here? So the page after the LPP Police exhibit.
That is the email log where she emailed her attorneys the squad car video for Sergeant Young.
Are criminal investigations confidential?
They are.
And did you check with Joy's supervisors regarding whether they had given her any special permissions to release criminal records?
I did, and they did not give her any permission to release any of the stuff.
And what is a public records request?
Public records request is when people request records from our police department on different situations. Could be body cam videos, reports, things like that. Typically with a criminal investigation, those are not released if it's ongoing, just because they're sensitive and confidential.
When are police officers required to file a public records request?
They're going to use it for personal use.
Did Joy ever file a public records request with the Elkhart Police Department?
She did not.
Did Joy download videos from evidence.com that she was not assigned to?
She did.
Was there any reason for Joy to download a video from evidence.com?
No,
Should videos be viewed for anything other than work-related purposes?
they should not.
What types of sensitive information might be on an evidentiary video?
Well, depending on the situation, you could have rape victims, if there's some child crimes going on. There's also be information as far as date of birth, social security numbers, home addresses, places of employment, things along those lines.
Tell us about IDAX. What is IDAX?
IDAX is a Indiana search system where you can run stuff to see if people are wanted within the state of Indiana. You can also run driver's licenses and things like that.
Does it have BMV information? And on the video that we watched earlier today with Sergeant Roundtree in his vehicle, at some point, did he say that he was looking up the title of a vehicle?
You mean Sergeant Young?
Sergeant Young, yes, sorry.
He was, I don't know exactly what he said, but yes, he was looking stuff up on his computer.
Did he say that a plate was false and fake? Are there rules around who can look at that? Can I, as your attorney, look over your shoulder at IDAX?
No, only certified users can use it, and you're not supposed to be giving that stuff out to anybody who is not a certified user or in law enforcement.
Are you aware of any consequences or penalties or associated with a non-certified user viewing IDAX?
If it is found out by IDAX, you can lose your certification for the whole department to use it.
So when Joy Phillips emailed these videos of Sergeant Young checking IDAX, we could have lost, theoretically, our certification?
Yes.
Thank you. How many thumb drives had Joy attached to her laptop?
179.
How would there be any work-related reason for her to attach so many devices?
I don't believe so. To me, 179 sounds excessive.
Let's talk about additional violations. During the process of putting Joy on administrative leave on November 1st, 2022, did she violate any direct orders?
Yeah, so at the time, Captain Whitmire and Captain Hamlin had notified her that she was being placed on admin leave. She was not supposed to touch anything in her office. They were going to gather her stuff. She was supposed to tell them what she wanted. They would get it for her, and then she would leave the building. At one point in time, she grabbed something off her desk. I don't know exactly what it was, if it was an electronic storage device, if it was a recording device, or whatever it was, but she refused to show it to us. She was given several orders to show us what it was. She then tried to flee out of CID. I had to stop her, and I told her to have a seat. We'll get a hold of City Legal, and we'll see what we need to do. But at this point, you can't leave because we got to find out what your device is and what's on it.
And did she refuse your direct order to sit and wait for Rathel to communicate with City Legal?
She did.
Did Joy have a habit of recording her interactions at work on a personal recording device?
Yes.
And did you discover a video recording device in the course of your investigation?
Yes, she had a video recording device set up in her office.
And what did this device look like?
It looks like an iPhone charger, the little white square or rectangle thing that you would plug into the wall.
And did it have recordings on it?
It did.
Is this against city policy?
It is now.
And I'm going to show you what has been marked as Exhibit 36. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And can you tell us what it is?
It's a policy for personal communication devices.
And can you turn to 701.6D?
Yep.
And can you read that?
Members are prohibited from taking pictures, audio, video recordings, or making copies of any such picture or recording media unless it is directly related to official departmental business, disclosure of any such information to any third party through any means without the express authorization of the chief or the authorized designee may result in discipline.
If Joy had used a personal communication device to record others, would that have violated this policy?
Yes.
Does the fact that there was no policy that that was exactly on point as to a non-communication device make Joy's actions to record others without their permission acceptable?
No, it does not.
If others knew she sometimes made recordings, does that make her behavior any more acceptable?
No, it does not.
I am handing you exhibits 41 through 43. And do you recognize these exhibits?
Yes, the one is a policy at the police department for standards of conduct, and the other one is the employee handbook from the city.
So you have their policy 320 and policy 422, is that correct? He doesn't have 422. The 42, exhibit 42. I have it here if you don't have it. If you could turn to and read into the record policy 320.5.9 FGJL on conduct.
What were the letters you wanted me to read?
320.5.9 F. Let's start with F.
Discourtesy, disrespectful, discrimination, treatment of any member of the public or member of the department or city.
If you could go ahead and move on to G.
Criminal, dishonest, or disgraced conduct, whether on or off duty, that adversely affects the member's relationship with this department.
If you could go on to J.
Attempted or actual theft of department property, misappropriation or misuse of public funds, property, personnel, or services of property of others, unauthorized removal or possession of department property or the property of another person. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I read I. Sorry about that. J, active that compatibility with a member's condition of employment or appointment as established by law or that violates a provision of any collective bargaining agreement, include fraud, in securing the appointment of or hire.
Could you go on to read L?
Any conduct on or off duty which adversely affects or impairs the morale, efficiency, or operation of the department, and/or any conduct that has a tendency to adversely affect, lower, or destroy public respect or confidence in the department or members.
And moving to 320.5.6A. (320.5.6A).
Unauthorized or inappropriate intentional release of confidential or protective information, materials, data, forms, or reports obtained as a result of the member's position with this department.
And then if you could go on to read B.
Disclosing to any authorized person any active investigation information.
Disclosing to any unauthorized person. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
320.5.6C.
The use of any information, photograph, video, or any other recording obtained or accessed as a result of employment or appointment to this department for personal or financial gain, or without the express authorization of the chief or the authorized designee.
And if you could go on to 320.5.8A.
Failure to disclose or misrepresenting material facts or making any false or misleading statements on any application, examination form, or any other official documents, report, or form, or during the course of any work-related investigations.
320.5.8C.
Failure to participate in investigation or giving false or misleading statements or misrepresenting or omitting materials, information to a supervisor or other person in a position of authority in connection with or any investigation or in the reporting of any departmental related business.
320.5.8D.
Being untruthful or knowing making false, misleading, or malice statements that are reasonable, calculated to harm the reputation, authority, or official standing of this department or its members.
320.5.8E.
Disparaging remarks or conduct concerning duly constituted, authorized to the extent that such conduct disrupts the efficiency of this department or subverts the good order, efficiency, and discipline in this department, or that would tend to discredit any of its members.
320.5.8I.
Any act on or off duty that brings discredit to this department.
Okay, and now turning to policy 422. 422.4.2A. on accessing BWC/mobile in-car camera files.
A. BWC or body-worn cameras should be used only in conjunction with official law enforcement duties. BWC accessing body-worn cameras or mobile in-car camera files. Public requests for a law enforcement recording must be in writing.
And then B.
The written request must be reasonably particular and must provide the following information regarding law enforcement activity depicted on the recording as follows: the date and approximate time of the law enforcement activity, the specific location where the law enforcement activity occurred, the name of at least one individual other than law enforcement officer who was directly involved in the law enforcement activity.
And C.
Prior to allowing any access to any law enforcement recording. The request must be reviewed by officers or employee with EPD who is on duty at the time of the request and is trained in public access to law enforcement.
And then D?
The officer or employee with EPD who is on duty at the time of the request and who is trained in public access to law enforcement records shall contact the city legal department prior to allowing access to any law enforcement recording to any person or entity in the public.
And then if you could turn to the business ethics and conduct policy, which should be in the city handbook. Marked as Exhibit 43.
Page was that, Rose?
It should be, it should just state, maybe it's the second or third page. It says business ethics and conduct. Let's see. It says page 8 at the bottom. And if you could just read, starting with the successful operation reputation of the city is built.
The successful operation and reputation of the city is built upon the principles of fair dealing and ethical conduct of our employees. Our reputation for integrity and excellence requires adherence to all applicable laws, regulations, as well as a high standard to personal integrity. The continued success of the city is dependent upon the citizens' trust and our dedication to preserving that trust. Employees owe a duty to the city and its citizens to act in a way that will merit the continued trust and confidence of the public. The city will comply with all applicable laws and regulations and expects its department heads, managers, and employees to conduct business in accordance with the letter, spirit, and intent of all relevant laws, to refrain from any illegal, dishonest, or unethical conduct. Compliance with this policy is the responsibility of every employee. Disregarding or failing to comply with this standard of business ethics conduct could lead to the disciplinary actions up to and including possible termination of employment.
And so are these all of the policy violations alleged in Joy's charging letter?
Yes, I don't have the charging letter, but I believe they are.
In addition to the current concerns regarding Joy's integrity and ability to perform an essential function of the job, does she have any history of past discipline?
She does.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 37 and 38. Do you recognize them?
I do.
And can you go ahead and tell us what Chief's Exhibit 37 is?
This is the 3-day suspension that she received for the July 12th incident.
Okay. And do you have, so that's the Captain Review Board form, is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay. And then do you have the chief's letter there? Do you recognize Exhibit 38?
Yes.
And can you tell us what that is?
This is the letter that Chief Seymour had sent to Detective Phillips.
And can you read the narrative in the chief's letter to us, beginning with the sustained violation of policy 320.5.8C, omitting or inaccurately relaying material?
The sustained violation policy of 320.5.8C, omitting and inaccurate relayed materials information to Sergeant Roundtree during the initial states of a burglary investigation. The sustained violation of policy 320.5.9F, acted in a discourteously, disrespectful manner, which have negative results in operational effectiveness of criminal investigation.
Does the records management system, does the records management system module document that Detective Phillips was spoken to by a supervisor regarding the need for improvement?
Yes, there should be 4 of them.
So these are exhibits 17, 18, 19, and 20. Do you recognize these?
Yes.
And can you tell us what they are?
These are supervisor counseling forms that we put in RMS, so if we have an issue with an employee, we talk to them about it, and then we put it into the module.
And can you take a look at Chief's Exhibit 17 and tell us what that particular supervisor counseling was about?
So this one is in reference to, at the end of shift, what she did is prior to being told by dispatch that you're off duty, she got into her personal vehicle, getting ready to leave. She then got a late call. Instead of using her squad car, she used her personal vehicle and went to the call in the personal vehicle.
And she was counseled about that?
Correct.
Okay, if you could turn to Chief's Exhibit 18 and summarize that one for us.
So this one is, she was working an accident. When she left the scene of the accident, she did not notify dispatch that she was back in service to take calls. She went down to the PD. When dispatch continued to call her to ask her if she was 10-4, she advised them that she was, but never notified them that she was back in service so she could start taking calls.
And was she given a counseling about that?
Correct.
And why was it important that she notify that she was back in service?
That way, if there's calls holding, they know that she's free so she can start taking more calls.
Okay. And if you could turn to Chief's Exhibit 19 and take your time, but when you're ready, if you could summarize that one.
So this is in reference for CID personnel to go 1041 or tell them that they're on duty over the radios unless they are sitting at their desk and they can use their desk phone. She failed to do this. She used her cell phone. When supervisors talked to her, she told them that Captain Price, who was the captain of CID at the time, gave her permission to use her cell phone, which was not true, because they talked to him prior to talking to her. So she lied to her supervisors about having permission from the captain to use her cell phone.
And if you could turn to Chief's Exhibit 20 and take a look at that and then summarize that for us.
So this is another incident where she failed to use her radio like the detectives had been told to do. She went to court. Instead of putting out on the radio, she used her cell phone again. She then got called in by Lieutenant Hamill and asked her, why didn't you put out at court? She said she did, and she used her cell phone, and he advised her that they advised her supposed to use their radios and not their cell phones.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 39. Do you recognize it?
Yeah, this is a captain's review board form.
And is it the captain's review board form for this case?
It's for this case and the case by Lieutenant Raffle.
And did the captain's review board sustain the policy violations recommended by professional standards?
They did,
And those were the ones you just read out?
correct,
And was the recommendation of the captain's review board termination?
correct.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Chief's Exhibit 40. Do you recognize it?
I do.
And can you tell us what it is?
This is the chief's letter to Joy Phillips in reference to the case that I did and the case that Lieutenant Raffle did.
And what is his recommendation? What does he tell her his recommendation to the Police Merit Commission will be?
Termination.
At this time, I'm going to move to enter these exhibits. 23, 24, 35, 36, 41, 42, 43, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 34.
Run that list again, please.
Yes. 23, 24, 35, 36, 41, 42, 43, 34, 37, 38, 39, and 40.
No objection.
23 and
Do you want me to read the list again?
let me read it to you, what I've got.
Okay, go ahead.
23 and 24, 35 and 36, 41 and 42, 34, 37, 38, and 40.
So it was missing 43, and I don't know, did you say 39 and 40? 38, 39, 40?
Here you say those. So add 39 and 43.
Okay.
Any objection to the last two?
No, Your Honor.
23 and 24, 35 and 6, 41 and 2, 34, 37, 38, 40, 39, and 43 are all.
Thank you. I would pass the witness.
Sergeant, have you investigated any other officer besides Joy Phillips through cyber crimes?
No,
Isn't it true that you were recently accused of viewing pornography on,
Objection. This
on
is totally
your,
irrelevant.
pornographic images on your cell phone while on duty and while inside the Internal Affairs Office?
yes, HR talked to me about that, and they investigated it and found out it was not true.
Isn't it true that when ordered to give your cell phone to the administration, you refused?
Talking about.
I'm going to object to this. This is just totally irrelevant and has nothing to do with the charges in front of this commission.
Also cross-examination. Overruled.
Were you ever reprimanded in any way? Let me repeat the question, sir. Did you give over your cell phone to the administration?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were ordered to give your cell phone to the administration so it could investigate this charge.
I was not.
So so that there's no way then that these charges could be investigated if your devices were not examined?
You would have to talk to HR about that.
Were you ever reprimanded in any way for the policies you violated?
I didn't violate any policies.
Was the cell phone you were accused of using a department-owned phone?
There was some accusation, but nobody asked for a cell phone or anything like that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Who conducted the investigation then?
HR,
Were you ever placed on administrative leave pending this investigation?
no.
And did an outside agency or another supervisor not connected to this incident conduct an investigation?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Did these events get you charged with anything that led to having to appear before this commission?
No,
Did any member of the Elkhart Police Department ask cybercrimes to investigate your phone, or your computer?
you'd have to talk to somebody else, but nobody ever asked me for my phone.
So only Detective Phillips got subjected to this treatment?
Well, because there was accusations about it.
You just said there were accusations about you.
Right, but there was a detective that saw stuff on her computer screen.
Didn't someone see stuff on yours?
No, that's a lie.
No further questions.
No, I got nothing further.
Any call for Sergeant Claybaugh?
324 Prosecuting over.
We may possibly call him in our case in chief, Your Honor.
Sergeant Claybaugh, then you're free to go at the moment. As you've heard me say to others, the defense may wish to call you back later on. Just be accessible, please. Thank you.